Here we go.
Wait, there he
What's
is.
up? How you
How's it
Hey,
doing?
going?
Alex.
Yeah.
I love the punctuality, like on the dot.
Well, it would have been, you know what? I would have been late. It's so funny. I was doing a live on TikTok and my wife's like, "Don't you have to do a podcast?" And I'm like, "Holy fuck." Like I literally spaced. So I was like, "Oh my God, I got to do it." And I was going to do it on my laptop, but I was like, "Ah, fuck it, I'll do it on my phone."
Well, anyway, thank you for joining us. I'm Gavin. I'm the guy who's been talking to you. I'm from the UK, but I live in Canada. And
Oh, okay.
this is Chris. Chris is back in the UK. I've known Chris since we were kids. So
Oh, nice. Gavin and
Nice to meet you.
Chris.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
try and understand our accents. We're from like the north of England, like so Liverpool area.
I might need subtitles, man, because
Yeah,
you know.
it's thick.
We'll have to slow it down a little bit. The worst thing is as well, when me and Gavin talk, because we've got very similar accents, we
Yeah.
end up, it goes thicker,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I've lived in Nova Scotia for 11 years now, so my accent's like
Okay.
lessened a little bit, but as soon as I start talking to him, it's back again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can't help it. I have no control over it. So
I'm exactly the same. I get tons of comments like from people in my friend circle and families going, "Will you stop saying like on the podcast all the time? Like, you know?"
yeah, yeah, we throw that word around a lot. Yeah. So yeah, so I mean the thing with you, Alex, is I mean I've obviously followed you for years and big fan of
Oh,
King of Queens and stuff.
oh,
And
yeah.
then once I started the research on you, I realized you've done like a ridiculous amount of work. And even like when me and Chris were like prepping for this,
Yeah.
I'm discovering stuff I didn't even know you did. And I'm like, "Yeah, we're not going to be able to cram all this in. There's absolutely no
Yeah.
way that this is all going to get crammed in. So we'll do our best and we'll try not to keep you too long. So.
Yeah, fine. Let's have fun. Yeah.
So, well, let's start with the King of Queens. I know, like, I've
Yeah.
listened to interviews with you before. I know that this was like you did this a million years ago, and there's so much more to you than Doug
Yeah.
Prezan, who you played on the show. But I am
Yeah.
a massive, like, hardcore nerdy fan of the show. It's on constantly in the house in the background, so I have to
Yeah.
talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so like how did you first get involved with that show? I read online that you had tried out for a different role first on the show and didn't get it, and then were brought back.
Yeah, actually a couple different roles. So what happened was this was in what year was that? 97, I think. Yeah, wow.
Feels like
So they brought me in and that was over at Sony Studios. My agent called and said, "Hey, there's a show called King of Queens that wants you to come in for like a party guest." I guess they're in an episode they were having a party at their house and they wanted me to come in to play like an ex-football player. And I was like, okay. So I went and read for it, and I met with them. You know, the executive producers, Kevin James was there, and and I read for this part, and they laughed and liked it and stuff. And then I left, and my agent called and said, "Well, you didn't get this part." I'm like, okay, that's fine because that's normal. Like actors go in for roles, you don't get them. And then about a month later, they called me in for another part that was, and I can't remember what the exact part was, but they called me in. I go in again. I think I'm going to book this one. They all laugh. They like it. And I didn't get it. And I was like to my agent, I was like, all right, maybe they'll stop calling me in. And now by this point, I've watched the show now. After my second audition, now I know what the show is because the first audition, I didn't know what the show was. I watched the show and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a funny show. They're Kevin, Leah, they're funny. And then the third time they called, I was like, oh, here we go again. I'm like their lunchtime, entertainment. You know what I mean? So I go in for the part. It's the part of Doug Pruzan, who is an attorney, who is Leah Remini's boss at the law firm. And I go in, and now they're all there. So all the producers, all the execs, Kevin's there. I don't think Leah was there. Kevin was there, and they're all like, and it's a real small room this time. Like I'm in this real, it's like a closet, but everyone's packed in, and I'm like here, like they're here, and I'm here, and I'm like, this is
wow.
fucking weird. And I do two scenes, I think, and they were laughing, hysterically. And I left, and I went home, and I didn't hear anything. I was like, these motherfuckers. And then the next day, now my daughter had just been born, so I have an infant at home at this point. I was young. I had my first baby when I was 25, and my phone rings. My agent, they're like, you got the part and they want you for, I think it was 3 episodes. And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, apparently they kept bringing you in because they loved you, but they didn't know where to fit you, but they wanted you to recur. They didn't want you for just a one-off, and the other parts were one-offs. So I was like, holy shit, okay, let's go. So did it, and it became a cool character, you know, and that's how it all panned out pretty
Yeah, you
much.
were in it for like, I think it was like 3 or 4 seasons, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, I think I recurred for 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, on and off.
Did
Yeah.
you? So do you think that, like, without meaning to blow your own horn, did you? Do you think that they kept you on for that long because of your skill as an actor and how you portrayed the part, or did they
Well,
just like the
yeah, I
character
mean,
so
I'm
much?
really good. No, hey, look, I mean, look, I had fun. I love a live audience. I love a live audience. That's why I still do theater, is because I just love that energy from the audience, and I feed off of it. And my timing, like, you know, half-hour comedy, all comedy, but specifically half-hour sitcom is 3 jokes per page and timing. So it's like music, right? It's time. It's like a drum beat. Comedy is a drum beat. You know, the pauses, the beats, and all that stuff. Get into it, but yeah. So I just had fun, and they knew it. And the audience, when I did do episodes, they loved it, and we just, you know, I had a great rhythm with Leah. Leah and I worked well with each other, all off each other, and it was Leah Remini's a great person, and we had a lot of fun. Jerry Stiller was absolutely one of the best people I've ever met. I was
Yeah.
crushed when he passed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's actually I had a question specifically about him. I didn't want to ask you what was it like working with this person and that person, but specifically him, what was it like being in his presence? Because I was such a huge fan of his.
Well, you know, it's funny.
Point.
Him and Anne, you know, his wife Anne,
Yeah.
and they were there together all the time, and it wasn't so much, you know, yes, filming with him was amazing because in the back of your head, you know, regardless of you saying your lines and being in this character, you're still in the back of your head like, holy shit, that's Jerry Stiller. but you know, it was after. So we would rehearse Monday through Thursday, and then Friday nights we'd film in front of an audience for like 8 hours, right? And then it was after that where we'd all, you know, back in my days of drinking alcohol, I'm sober now, but we would go into his dressing room, and him and Anne would be there, and we'd all hang out. Well, not all of us, me and maybe Victor Williams, Patton Oswalt. We'd go into the room, and I just listened to Jerry talk about old days and the stories and stuff, and he was just amazing. And we actually, after I left the show, we had a couple conversations on the phone, just checking in with each other. And I'm friends with his daughter Amy. Amy's a really great
Yeah, see,
person and
she
funny in
comments
her
on
own right.
yeah, she
Yeah.
comments on a lot of your posts on Instagram and
Yeah,
stuff.
she's wonderful, and she's in her own right. She's funny and talented and stuff. So, but Jerry was, yeah, just an amazing human.
So didn't he say something? I've got like I've written it down here. Like there was a quote he gave you, and it was like, "Don't measure your success from the show you're working on," or something. What was?
Oh yes, that was, and I still think of that. So I was real down after. There's the whole story about how I left the show and how they told me I wasn't going to be on it anymore, which was kind of crazy. But I was real down, and we were on the phone, and he said, "Listen," he goes, I don't measure success about the show I'm doing. I measure success about when I'm not working. That's when you're successful. So how do you deal with not working? Because actors, you know, I'm a journeyman actor. I'm not a huge celebrity. I'm not an A-lister by any means. I'm just an actor. And we have to specifically deal with downtime. And it's very easy to go crazy, right? It's very easy to start going nuts when you're not doing what you feel you should be doing all the time. And that is where you become successful, is what are you doing in your downtime to occupy the time and stay committed to the craft and creative. What are you doing? So that was a huge thing. He also said something else to me that was I like to think about, is that we were doing a scene together. I think it's when I was offering him a job in the law firm. I can't remember. I think that's what it was.
Yeah,
And
probably.
we were doing the scene, and we were just kind of talking about the scene. And he goes, "Just know this, comedy is way more dramatic." I'm paraphrasing. Way more dramatic than drama. And it's true. Comedy is so much more dramatic than drama, because if you're not extremely dramatic in comedy, it's not as funny.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be life or death. There's more life or death in comedy than there is in drama, which I hope that makes sense.
No, but it's true. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, but like, what wise words from him? Like that's amazing. And
Yeah.
the fact you've taken that with you and you've remembered it as well.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah, he was an awesome guy. So
Yeah.
with the show, like it's now kind of like it's more popular now than it's because it was obviously a dip where it went really quiet, but now it's popular again because of obviously social media and the memes that go around and things.
Yeah.
Did you have any idea that it was going to be as big as it was?
No, and it's funny. I always said back then, even when I left the show, that I said, "My God, man, if that show was Friends, I'd have a different career. Like if I did that same part on, say, a show like Friends, that was like just this huge, massive success, I was like, I would have a different career trajectory." I didn't. The thing about King of Queens was it was kind of an under the radar show while it was on. It was good enough and funny to go a long distance. Like it went what, 9? I don't even know how many seasons it went, all in all, but it was good enough to do that. But it never won any awards. It was always under the radar, and I had no. To answer your question, I had no clue that it would be still going. I mean, I get fan mail, from this character, and I'll open it and I'll go, "Oh, King of Queens." So I don't really think about King of Queens anymore. It was so. I mean, I left that show in what, 2003? That was
so
21 years ago, man. Like, holy
yeah.
shit! Like my son was just born when I left that show, and he's like at bars. You know what I mean? So it's like, so it's kind of wild, man. But yeah, it's still going.
Yeah, you'll be remembered in history forever.
Yeah. How do you feel about like the kind of impact that like it's got like a cult following, King of Queens? Like, how do you feel about the sort of like legacy that show has left?
It's incredible. It's funny. It's like what I wish is that it did more for me in the long run as far as acting goes, but the whole business is completely different now. I mean, it is so different. But it's interesting. So like I'm on TikTok a lot. I really don't do other social media too much, but TikTok, I really enjoy doing that. And I get people all the time like comment on my stuff, like, because I don't say who I am. Like I don't have anything really on my page. I mean, there's my website, of course, if you click it, but my bio doesn't say like I was Doug Prezant on the King of Queens and I was blah, blah. I don't do that. And I'll have people randomly just go, "Holy shit, they always, misspell it like Prezant on the King of Queens or whatever." And I'm like, yeah, I did that. And it's funny that still gets attention. It's still, I mean, I have people tell me all the time, like, I watch that religiously. Some people have just started watching it, which is just like, what?
Yeah, bizarre, yeah.
It's a show, to be fair, that like even me and my wife, like we always see it sort of advertisement, like we need to go back and watch that again. You know what I mean? Because it's that sort of show. Do you know what I mean? There's like a few shows I think that would fall into that remit of like I would watch that from start to finish again. That is one of those shows. But
there's an app called Pluto TV, and it's on loop on that. Like I could go on it right now, and it's playing. It's the only thing that plays on that channel. Yes,
Pluto. I wonder if I'm getting paid for that. Probably not. But it's funny, man. In 2005, so I'd been off the show for 2 years. So that show became huge in Germany, like pretty quick, and I didn't know that. And then all of a sudden, in 2005, I'm sitting there in my apartment. And my manager calls and says, "Hey, do you want to do a USO tour?" And I'm like, "What? Like, what is that? What are you talking about?" It's like, "Do you want to go to Germany and meet with the troops?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but why?" And they're like, "Because King of Queens is in Germany, and it's like one of the biggest things in Germany." And I'm like, "Okay." So the government paid for me to go out there and do this. Like, I was out there for like 3 weeks, going from like Mannheim, Munich, Heidelberg, everywhere. And I had this interpreter with me and just kind of partied with the soldiers and had fun. It was so crazy, but
that's incredible.
But that was kind of interesting,
So random.
Yeah. So random. Yeah, just random.
That's crazy. You mentioned something a second ago, Alex, just to come back to it, sorry. You mentioned how different the industry is now compared to what it was. Like, what have you seen change since you've been in it? Like, what is the the sort of invent of streaming platforms and things like that done to the industry? Like, what's your experience of that being on the inside, you know?
My wife and I talk about, so my wife's an actress. Her name's Mo Collins. She was on Mad TV. She was on, Parks and Rec. She just did Fear the Walking Dead. She's done a bunch of stuff. And we talk about it constantly because it's interesting about how she was, she's an incredible actress, really talented, really funny. And I'm an actor and I do pretty good when I'm performing. And so we talk about all the time how the stuff that we have done would have moved us in a different direction if it were not for reality TV, social media for, second, these streaming networks that literally recycle every actor. So they'll use an actor and then they recycle that actor. Hollywood, we've been calling it is like a recycling bin. Like they just use the same people over and over and over again, like The Rock, like Dwayne Johnson. Like that dude, like, does anyone want to see, like, okay, in his own right, he did his thing. Great. That's awesome. Mucho respect. But do you want to see him in every fucking movie? Huh?
Every movie.
They don't take risks, do they? You know what I mean? Like they just
they don't.
They just stick with it.
Yeah, they just stick with it. And they think that's a game. But Hollywood is actually crumbling right now. It's like filming is down 33%, which is huge. Right. So people are making their own content now. You have TikTok, you have Instagram, you have YouTube, you have these social media platforms where people are making their own content. And the normal person who would usually turn on their TV and watch King of Queens or watch, a series, they're looking at their phones. So they're literally staring at their phones. And if the content's longer than 5 minutes, you lost them. The short attention span is so real. So another thing is that I'm a theater actor. I started in theater in Chicago. I moved from New Jersey to Chicago. I went to Goodman School of Drama, didn't go there full term. I got kicked out after 2 years. But then I started doing theater, and that's where casting directors used to come, right? So directors and casting directors used to come to plays. So if I was starring in a play in Chicago, they would come, they'd see me, they'd say, oh, does he fit in this show I'm doing? Does he fit in this series or this movie I'm casting? And you would get work that way. And I still do theater only because I love being on stage. Like I said, I love an audience. And now these casts, like I just did a play. This was a year and a half ago. I did a play, ran for 6 months, and it was a pretty big success. It was called Gaslight House. I was the lead in it. And it was dark, dark comedy. And it was a brilliant play. But you know how many casting directors came? I think one came. Because where they're finding their talent, loose term now, is YouTube, Instagram. So it's not by any means what it used to be. And being a 51-year-old man right now, it's hard to change with it. Do you see what I'm saying? It's hard to, I like the old way, right? So I'm stubborn. I like being an artist because that's what I am. I mean, I'm not bragging about that. It's just a fact. You know what I'm saying? Like, I enjoy the art of it. I like the show. The business end is just a fucking nightmare. But again, being a 51-year-old man trying to wiggle your way back in on Instagram is just a total nightmare to me. It's just a nightmare. So the business has changed drastically in that aspect, and I think it's the biggest aspect.
Yeah.
So,
do you have a favorite genre to, because you mentioned you did theater, like, and you obviously still do, like, what about genres like comedy, like serious drama? Like what sort of stuff do you like to do? Whether it be theater or TV?
I like doing all of it. But I think that there is comedy even in the dramiest of dramas. I think there is comedy because we as humans are funny. Even at funerals, there's comedy in a funeral. I mean, I like doing both, but I like the reality. So I like honest comedy, which happens to be drama. So this last play I did, it was about a psychiatrist, me, who goes home to put his twin sister into a psychiatric ward, and the crap unfolds from there. Now that is a dramatic thing to do. To go home and to have to put your sister away because she's nuts is crazy. But there is so much comedy in that relationship and those interactions between my character and his mother and his father and his sister, that it becomes a comedy when in fact it is a drama.
To be fair, that's something I sort of joked about with my wife Louise when talking about Netflix. Like their categorization of comedy these days is questionable at best. Do you know what I mean? Like
The Bear,
some of the stuff you watch.
The Bear, really?
Yeah.
That's not a comedy. Oh my God. And if I hear my wife talk about it anymore, like it just won again all these awards for comedy. It's not a fucking comedy.
No.
It's funny you mention though about like funerals and things, right? Because like something that like I don't know whether it's just my family or it's like a wide thing, but you know, funerals in our family are sort of obviously they're a very emotionally charged time, and you know we go and the whole thing is like you go, you do all the crying, you know, you put them in the ground or cremate them or whatever, and then everyone just gets drunk and starts laughing and starts talking about the good times and stuff, and it's really, really therapeutic, you know. But it's really sort of interesting that you mentioned that, you know.
Yeah.
Like what you mentioned then that you know theatre quite a few times there, and you've done so much. You've done voiceovers and theatre and music. We've seen your band. We've been listening to your songs, man. Like, do you have a preference or do you just love it all?
I used to love it all, and now okay, so like as far as on camera acting, like TV and stuff, I'm changing as I get older, and I don't have that fire anymore. Now, I'm not saying that if I was offered a part and I liked the part, I would not do it. I wouldn't. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is my persistence and charisma towards that side of the business has definitely dwindled. As far as music goes, I play guitar. I love playing guitar. That's just for me. That's for me. That's just for me. Theater, I'm always game. I'm always game for theater because there's not really much business involved in theater. It's just the journey of the character, right? So I loved them all, and now I'm kind of focused in like voiceover, doing voiceover campaigns for big brand products. Like I was the voice of Lowe's for about 2 years. I was the voice of Goodyear tires. I did Porsche. I did National Car Rental. I did all this stuff. And those by far are the most amazing because I could literally walk in to a recording booth, you know, downtown wearing my sweatpants, a half shirt, and like fucking like leather earrings and do my work. I don't have to wear anything specific. I can wear my bedroom slippers, you know. And
it's the acting equivalent of like remote worker.
Yeah, exactly. It's like remote work. And most of the time, the producers and director and advertising execs, they're in New York. So I'm just patched through on headphones. So the only people in the recording studio are me and the engineer, and he doesn't give a fuck. So we're just kind of having fun and doing the work. So I would say voiceovers and theater are probably my two main loves.
Right. You've got such a good voice for voiceovers as well.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
I seen that you like. I'm a big gamer. Do you know what I mean? And like I see that it's always hard to put like an actor's face to the voice of a character, but you know what I mean? Like I seen like you've done like Elder Scrolls Online and stuff, and I got like giddy with excitement. You know, I was like,
I did Transformers too. I did Transformers Universe, and that job went on for quite a while. I played Prowl, which was the police car that transformed. I think that was a police car. Yeah, so it was interesting. It's always interesting.
Yeah. So got to go back to the music. I'm a singer myself, and that's one of the things that I didn't know that you did until Chris was like, "Have you seen this?" And he sends me a video, and it's I could see it's on YouTube. I could see that it was a band, and I'm like, he's got the wrong guy. This isn't Alex Skuby. And I clicked it on, and it was you. But like you really good, like you're a really good musician. So like, why did you? No, you are though. Like you've got a great voice. You play amazingly. So why did you sort of move away from that? Because you just said before it's you do it for you now.
Well, yeah, because there was no money in it, man. I mean, like, well, look, I started that when I was 32. Like, so I finished King of Queens. I was done with that. I had moved back to the East Coast from Los Angeles because I just wanted out of the entertainment industry, so to speak, like Hollywood. I wanted to get away from it. So I went back to the East Coast. My mom lived over there. I rented a house, and I all of a sudden I was like, I can't just sit here. After like 2 weeks, I was like, I can't just sit here. I love playing guitar. I think I can. I like singing. Like, why not? Let's try it. So I literally put an ad out in this newspaper, this like little shitty newspaper, and I got responses. Like, I needed a lead guitarist, a drummer, keyboard player, and a bass player, and people responded. And I got to tell you, I met one of my best friends ever just doing that, Jim Adams, who was my lead guitar player. He was just a brilliant lead guitar player. I met him. We're still friends, and so we got this band together, and we, started playing, cover tunes. But I was like, wait a second. And now the keyboardist I found, he had written some tunes. I'm like, well, I could do something with them, and we kind of put them together. So we weren't playing covers. We were only playing like 3 covers when we played out. We were playing originals, which was unheard of, because we were playing in bars in like Maryland, Boston, New Jersey, Delaware, Iowa. Like we actually toured. It's so weird thinking about this, because I don't really think about it too much anymore. But we got into a big Winnebago that our friend Bob Farster rented us, who's now got a show. Bob now has a show on, I think, Discovery Channel or some channel called, or Fubo, called Backwoods Bars. Like, that's his show now. But he was our manager, and he got us this Winnebago, and we would just drive around doing drugs, drinking, and playing in these like sports bars, biker bars, anywhere we could play. It was really fun, man.
Would you not consider would you not consider, like, because you love TikTok now, you're always on it. Would you not consider playing a few little tunes on TikTok?
Well, see, I've done that in the past, and the videos did well. And it was just me kind of strumming and singing. But the problem is that right now, my TikTok has become its own thing. And I don't know if you've seen my TikTok, but it's
I love it.
My TikTok is a brand. My brand right now on TikTok is to basically defile.
I love it. I tune in every day, and I'm like,
I
put some new videos up.
No, I don't know what, I'm not political, and this is not my stuff is not about politics. It is about humanity, and we need to get rid of the orange fucking donut. And that's it. And that's my TikTok, and you can find me on there at Skuby Balls.
Yeah. So that's literally a topic I wanted to discuss with you, is the whole Trump thing. But before we touch on that, just very quickly, we mentioned before, Chris mentioned about you've got a really good voice. And you've done a couple of podcasts before, like you did one with your wife for a while there called A Couple of Thoughts. Like, that was a great podcast. Yeah. You did one with Wayne Hanna as well, the Zen AF podcast.
We did that for like a year and a half, and it was great. We were doing fairly well for only a year and a half, but I think Wayne and I just got burnt. Like, Wayne's a great dude. He's a great dude, but we got burnt quick, you know? So
that was my question. Would you consider doing another podcast maybe with somebody different, or?
Yeah, I would.
A great voice for it.
Thank you. I would. There would have to be something. There'd have to be money involved.
Yeah,
just being honest, man. Like,
that's fair.
I can't. It's like I've done so much stuff for free, in my life, that now it's like I know what I'm worth. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to sound like a dick, but I do. I know what I'm worth, and free stuff at this point, if I'm going to invest my time and my thoughts and my creativity in it, it's like I can't.
Well, I guess as well, you've got your platforms as well, like your Instagram and your TikTok. You can always talk about what you want to talk about on there freely. So
yeah, exactly.
You got an audience there as well.
So TikTok's great, because I monetize my TikTok, and it's fun.
Yeah, I did that with Twitter as well, and it was so worth it. I got like 20,000 followers, and it's
great. What I'm saying.
People give me shit, and I'm like, keep it coming. Do you know what I mean? Like, the more interactions I get is great. Like, it's
brilliant.
That's the things. You get a lot of hate, obviously, because you're anti-Trump, which we are as well, by the way. Just so you know, we're on the same. Yeah. Like, everything you believe in resonates with me. Like, even like religion. Like, I know that you're an atheist. Like, so am I. So is Chris. Like, a lot of things that you think, I feel the same way about. And when it comes to politics, we're on the same page 100%. So that's great. I just think it's hilarious, because, like you say about the monetization thing, is like, you get a lot of shit from the MAGAs. And it just all goes to the power of the cause.
Yeah, they're boosting me. Keep coming. I did a live today. I think I don't know how many people were on. I think total on there was like thousands. There was thousands of people. Anyway, I don't even know the total, but they kept coming on, and I was like, yeah, keep coming. Keep coming on. Keep coming on. You know?
Yeah.
I dig it.
It's brilliant. I love it. Yeah, it's just I've seen a couple of people that said, oh, he's a paid actor, like he's being paid deliberately to badmouth Trump. And I'm like,
hey, look, I would love to get paid just deliberately to badmouth Trump, because I would do it. I do it anyway. I still want to get paid. Like, you know, it's the funny thing is, it's like they all say that I work for the DNC, which is the Democratic National Convention. I don't. Now, if Kamala Harris wants to offer me a job, I would take it. I would definitely take it. No, I'm just doing it on my own, man. But you know, you monetize the channel and you get you get enough views and you start getting money. That's all.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's fantastic. So obviously with this election coming up, like you've made it quite clear that like you're confident that like she is going to get in. I am as well.
Yeah.
Like what makes you so confident about that?
Well, it's a whole new energy for our country. So you know, Biden did a wonderful thing, you know, and again, maggots, the MAGA maggots, they like to say that Biden just, you know, he didn't drop out, he was fired, and all that. He didn't. He relinquished, which was huge of him to do, to give up that much power.
Yeah, it was.
And he handed the torch to a younger, smart, brilliant woman, and the energy that she has received from that, and the amount of, if you compare what Biden's numbers were to what she has right now, it's astronomical how she has just, you know, gotten these, you know, all the money she's had given to her and to her campaign, and to her being the choice and taking on Donald Trump. And then, you know, you watch that debate. I don't know if you saw the debate, but it was a couple weeks ago. It was absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, T-Rump you could see him losing his, you know, dementia-laden mind right on camera. Like, he couldn't fucking think of any, like, he was literally spitting out the word salad nonsense. And she was just kind of like, you know what I mean? Like,
just
it was golden.
Keep giving me more rope to hang you with. Do you know what I mean? Like, to be fair, I think it was fantastic on Biden's part as well, and an amazing show of leadership to know when your time has come and to step down, because you know there was so much in the media. There was those videos going around of him falling off a bike and all of this sort of stuff. So for him to sort of like step aside and go, "Hey, look at this person," you know what I mean, was amazing. You know, and then obviously all these things started happening, like the assassination attempts.
That's all crap. I don't.
It's just so weird, isn't it? Like the whole thing's that, like, with there's no scar on his ear, and like people were told to keep quiet about it, and there's no talk of any funerals.
It's all
we
crap,
spoke about this about this in the past, right? And we were like, I'm sorry, but if you're the guy with the gun there, right, and you know, the US is a country known for people being very adept with guns, you know. Like, if you know that as soon as you pull that trigger, it's over for you.
Yeah.
You don't miss.
No, I mean, dude, first of all, he was only like 130 yards away. How are you going to miss? It's like, I had joked that, he had one fucking job. He had one job.
Yeah, and he
I don't want to say too much more about that.
Does all this sort of like, like his neck does all this stuff, doesn't he? You know what I mean? He's like a moving target. So
his accordion hands when he talks about nothing.
Oh, we're gonna get so much trouble with our listeners, right?
But it's funny. I get a lot of hate. But it's so worth it, because I know I'm getting under their skin. And look, the maggots, they don't want truth. They don't want reality. They watch Fox News, which is basically Russian propaganda. They parrot everything the donut fucking says when he talks. He has no policy. He never answers a question. I mean, he was asked the other day. I just did a video this morning. The newest video up on TikTok right now. My thing on TikTok is I like to read his transcripts, because when you read them out loud, they're even more bizarre.
I love it when you read those. When you read those out on your page, it's not even you reading them. It's the pauses you make when you go.
Yeah.
I wait for that every time.
Well, the one I did this morning, it's the newest one up there. He was asked, and I don't want to talk about Trump too much, but he was asked how he would keep the car manufacturing in Michigan, right? How would he keep the jobs in the state of Michigan? He went off on like a 5-minute tangent about how he was named Man of the Year in Detroit 20 years ago. Like there was no answer. It's one of the most it's like the Twilight Zone. It's like we're living in the Twilight Zone. You know?
It's also not like you mentioned that you know, like you're not politically motivated. It's all about humanity, right? It's the same for me. Like, what are your general thoughts on like the state of the world at the minute? Because I don't know whether it's just like me getting older, but things seem messed up at the minute, and it seems like sort of I keep waiting for sanity to prevail. You know,
man, I don't know, man. Like I don't know what's going on. I mean, we have Russia, you know, trying to do this stuff with Ukraine, which has been going on for years now. We have Israel, who's like now they're bombing.
Lebanon and
Hezbollah
and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, Hezbollah. They've taken that way too far over there with Hezbollah, because we've got, you know, hundreds of thousands of innocent people, children dying, which is disgusting. We got you know, Kim Jong-un in North Korea still piping off with his little fucking disgusting face. Now we have, you know, in America, you got this guy who wants to be an autocrat in the donut tea rump, the orange fucking moron. He wants to be, you know, this dictator. And so the whole world is like it's shit, you know, it's absolute shit. So I don't know what is going to happen. All I know is that starting here in this country, if we can get the donut out of politics, just done. Because if he loses this, it's done. He's done. And Kamala in, maybe we can start to see a change for the better.
Some sort of normality.
Some sort of normal. Because even though Trump has not been the president for the last 4 years, he's still there. He's still around, spewing his nonsense and his rhetoric and his lies. He's still there. But hopefully, after this election, he either goes to prison for all the crimes he's committed, because he's committed quite a few, or maybe gets house arrest, or maybe he flees the country. I don't care, as long as he's done, right? Yeah, but maybe then we can see some kind of normalcy. Maybe.
I mean, that's what needs to happen as well. You know, like the US are one of the most powerful countries on the planet for a reason, and what happens over in the US ripples across the world. You know what I mean? So like, if Trump gets in, I really fear for the Ukrainians as well. Not just the world, like the immediate impacts that it'll have over there would be devastating. But
devastating.
It's horrendous. So you're absolutely right. You know, if Kamala getting in would be just a huge step.
Brilliant. It'd be so brilliant. It'd be so good, man.
I can't wait, honestly.
Yeah.
I just can't wait to see it unfold. Like it's gonna be like, I'm gonna be nervous, but like I really do feel like she's gonna get it. So
she'll always win the popular vote. See, the thing is about American, you know, politics, but in politics, the Democrats always win the popular vote. They have, I think, pretty much every time, maybe one or two off, but pretty much every time. It's our archaic electoral college that comes in and wins the day for the Republicans. It's always been that way, because the smaller states don't have the population that they need to compete with other states in the election. So the smaller states get this thing called an electoral college, where they fill in the gaps, so to speak. But again, if Kamala can win Pennsylvania, which I think she will, and North Carolina, we won't need the electoral college, and she'll sweep this election. Yeah. So I'm hoping for that. I'm really
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not going to keep you too much longer, but we do have a quick little game we want to play with you, because it's a game that we play with American guests, and we're basically going to throw 6 different British slang terms at you and see if you can guess what they mean.
All right, let's do it.
Because some of them are really messed up. So I'll go first, and then Chris can go next.
So what do I have to say what they mean, or what?
You just have to guess what they mean. Yeah, they're messed up. And we'll see how you do. So the first one is, you can't teach your granny to suck eggs. What does that mean? And they're not literal.
So basically, it's not going to happen. So in general, like whatever you're talking about, it's not going to happen. Like you can't teach your granny to suck eggs. Like this isn't, no way, it's not happening.
No, that's a good guess, but that's not right. No. So what it actually means is you can't teach someone who's been doing it for so long how to do something when they've been doing it longer than you.
So you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
That's exactly what it means.
I should have known that.
Yeah. You can't teach your granny to suck eggs.
It's the same thing we say, but you added a grandma and an egg.
Yeah. That'd be the equivalent of like me trying to tell you how to act.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got you. Okay. Should have known that.
They're hard though, you know what I mean? Like there's some British sayings that are thrown at even me now, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, what does that mean? Yeah.
But the next one for you. What does it mean when someone says spill the beans?
Tell the story. Tell
there we go.
I got it. I know that.
Yeah, you got one. Nice.
I got that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spill the beans. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Keep going.
This is a good one. Wind your neck in. So your neck, wind your neck in.
Shut up.
No, I'll give you half a point.
Okay, I need half a point on that.
It means like calm down. Just calm down. Wind your neck in.
Okay.
Somebody asked The Rock what that meant once.
Yeah.
Talking about The Rock again, and he said he thought it meant masturbation.
He's been to too many P. Diddy parties.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true, guys. I'm not.
That might be libelous.
That was a joke.
You heard it here first, guys. He knows.
What's the next one?
Another one for you then. Up the duff.
Up your ass. Is that it?
So use it in a sentence, Chris. Use it in a sentence.
So like if someone says, oh, she's up the duff.
Hoity-toity. Like conceited.
No, it means like if someone's pregnant.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
That makes no sense. You'd never get that one.
Really not literal. Yeah.
What does that even mean? What's a duff?
It means like I honestly don't know the sort of source of that. I was thinking about this earlier. Like I had it written down. I was like, I don't actually know where that comes from. You know what I mean? But like that's what it means.
Everyone knows what it means in the UK.
They're expecting. Yeah, they're pregnant.
Okay, the next one. We're going to bring the granny back out again for this one. So
shit.
Don't nudge your granny when she's shaving.
Okay, don't nudge your granny when she's shaving.
Yeah.
Which would mean don't piss me off.
No.
What?
No, it doesn't mean that. It means that like when somebody's trying to do something and they're trying to concentrate on something, it literally means that like don't nudge them, like don't disturb them, don't distract them. So if you were working on your Jeep or something and somebody was trying to talk to you, you go, whoa, 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 don't nudge your granny while she's shaving, and you keep working on it.
If I said that, someone please put me out of my misery. First of all, that's way too many syllables to spit out to say, don't bother me. Do you know what I mean?
Just a no will suffice.
No, yeah, that's it. Easy, simple. No.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, Chris has got the last one.
Yeah.
All
right. To say someone is chuffed to bits.
Say that again.
Chuffed to bits.
Chuffed.
Yeah.
Drunk.
No.
I'm so wrong. I haven't guessed one of these.
You have. You got the spill the beans like instantly. Okay. But chuffed to bits is to say like you're really happy or proud of something. Do you know what I mean? Like we can be like, oh yeah, we've got Alex on the show, chuffed to bits.
Oh, I'm chuffed to bits.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly
it. It doesn't sound good with my accent. Like these, you can't say these. You can't say them because it sounds ridiculous. If you say it, it sounds great. If I say it, I'm like, I'm not well. You know?
Well, excellent. Thanks for playing that, Alex. I mean, I'd like to say that you did well, but you only got one, so never mind. Or at least now you've learned something. That's the thing with our podcast. It's educational, so you walk away with some knowledge.
I love it.
Okay, so before we let you go, I've got one more final question, and that is,
Okay.
how much fun are Kathy Griffin's parties, and can I come with you next time you go?
Okay, the first response to that is Kathy's amazing. Her parties are fun. The people there are awesome. We always learn a lot about each other. You know, it's usually she calls them salons, and you know, Sia is a friend of ours. Kathy's a friend of ours, and you know, Terry Hatcher was at the last one. She's awesome. I met a lot of great people. It's just a big conversation around a really fancy dinner because she hires a chef to come into her house and cook, and she's got a wonderful house.
Yeah, it looks
And
amazing.
and they are just so wonderful when you're sitting there with people that you can relate to, especially if you're talking about the entertainment industry, but also it gets political, and it also talk about life and how we're doing, and reality, you
Yeah.
know, our real feelings about our lives, I guess. They're wonderful.
Yeah.
As far as you coming, probably not.
Okay. Well, I asked.
That's
All you can do is ask. Yeah, I seen that you popped up on Lance Bass from NSYNC. I follow him on
Yeah,
Instagram.
Lance
And yeah,
is awesome.
yeah,
Love Lance.
he is awesome. You popped up on his page, and it was so random because I'm scrolling and I seen a picture of you on his page, and I seen the name, and I'm like, hang on a second, what's going on here? And then I
Yeah.
realized you were both with the same thing.
No, we've become friends with some really cool people, and they're just really genuinely awesome people. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the same can be said about you. You're genuinely awesome. And
Oh,
both
thank
me
you.
and Chris, really appreciate you taking the time to come and talk to us. Like, I've been a fan of yours for ages, and I've been dying to talk to you. So this has really made my Saturday. So thank you so much, Alex, for coming on.
You guys are awesome. I'll tell you what, I've done quite a few podcasts, and you two are awesome. I love you. I
Oh,
loved being on it. I loved the conversation. You guys are
Thank you.
A100.
I was a little bit worried because of all the stuff we wanted to talk to you about, but I feel like we navigated it quite well. And as well, I must add, this was Chris's first interview because he hasn't been on the podcast that long. So
Chris, bravo, man. You
Thank you very
came
much.
in, you did your job. You didn't
Yeah.
even shit the bed. You did really well.
Well, maybe not on the call, but in previous nights, it's been rough.
Okay, Alex.
Nah,
well,
it's
we're going to
been-
let
it's
you
been
go,
good
but
fun.
Thank you guys. It was awesome.
thanks,
Serious.
thanks, buddy. Take
Thanks,
it easy,
Alex.
and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you guys. All right, cool.
Cheers,
Bye.
man. Yeah,
Cheers.
Well, that was great, wasn't it, Chris?
that went really well. Yeah.
Yeah, it did. Before we go, while it's still recording, do you want to just do a quick intro, like literally a quick 5-minute intro?
Yeah, if you want to do an
Because
intro.
I'd only end up calling you back to do that anyway, so we could do that now, and then.
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
so first of all, I'm gonna end the recording and record again, just so it's not part of the same video.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
So to people that have watched this video,
Yeah.
if you want to hear the intro we're about to do, you'll have to listen to the interview. So okay, hold on one sec.